you with yourself. It's a motherfucker when they sit you on that show. I done been there, nigga. Served 7 straight. Thought it was impossible when a nigga heard that day. Judge put that hammer down. Yeah, I kept a straight face.
Shoe yard in the dog run by myself.
Right.
So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this because you know in the hole in the shoe you ain't got nothing but time to think. And I'm like, how did I wind up here? Now I'm reflecting on my life.
Right.
I'm reflecting on my upbringing. I'm reflecting on all of the advantages that I had in my life. Because I was never a dummy. You know, at 11 years old, I had a life plan. I had it all planned out where I was going to go to law school. You know, I was going to become a public defender, and then I was going to flip it and become a prosecutor, knowing that that was a cool political way to then maybe get a judgeship and get on the bench and do for my people.
Right.
This is 11 years old, and I'm thinking like this,
right.
so I was never a dummy. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, how the fuck did I wind up in this position?
In a cage.
Where I'm sitting in a cage and I'm this far away from death row and ain't killed nobody.
Right.
But they looking at me like I need to be on death row. And here you got a cat that done killed Robert Kennedy and a cat that done talked a bunch of cats into this helter-skelter madness.
Right.
And they out around people.
Chilling.
So I'm like, okay, Up to this point, I've been doing all of this shit, putting in work for, you know, the so-called homeboys. That's over. I'm done with that.
Right.
I'm not thinking about necessarily changing my life because I'm still thinking my criminal ways. Now what I'm thinking about is I want out of prison.
Right.
I had never been thinking about wanting to get out of prison up to this point. Now I'm thinking about wanting to get out of prison.
Okay.
But I got life, and at that time, life meant life. Nobody's going home.
Right.
So now I'm thinking escape.
Okay.
And it ain't no way that I'm going to be able to escape off of level 4. So I'm going to have to do what I got to do to get down as low as I can get, which would be a level 2.
Right.
In order to do that, I'm not going to be able to do that with a bunch of homeboys attached to me. Because the goons always going to be looking at anything pop off, they're going to think I got something to do with it, whether I do or I don't.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to start laying the groundwork. So in the next 10 or 15 years or so, they'll trust me and let me down to a level 2. So I say, when I get out the hole, I'm thinking long game. I'm thinking long game.
Yes.
So I say, when I get out the hole, I'm going to let the homies know, whoever's on this yard, I'm done.
Right.
So when I get to the yard, they kick me out to Folsom. I go to New Folsom.
New Folsom, C-Yard.
They kick me out to C-Yard. At the time, it's the shoe kick-out yard. Sack Rob, all of them is there.
Yeah.
So they coming around, they got fish roll, they coming around the fish roll, sending kites and all of that. Homie, this, that, and the other, all of this. You need anything? I'm telling them, nah, I don't need nothing. I don't want nobody to send nothing because I know what comes with all of that.
Right.
I'm already in my mind setting the groundwork for this spiel I'm getting ready to put down when I get out here to the yard.
Right.
So I get out here to the yard, I get everybody together, you know, they like this old homecoming, you know, old homecoming, the homies here, this, that, and the other, yada, yada. And look, this is what it is. If you see me out here on this yard and the white boys is stomping my brains out, the Crips is fucking over me, the Mexicans got me in the corner and they sticking me up, don't come running. Don't come, because I got a plan. I got it under control. And at this point, I had garnered, at least with the cats who knew me, a reputation as such where they knew I always had something going on in my head.
Oh, yeah.
Some sort of plan. So they was like, okay, he on some other shit. So, you know, they kind of laughed and giggled and sniggled about it. It was like, okay, dog, okay, I hear you. I respect that. I said, now on the flip side of that coin, if something is jumping off and it's involving y'all, don't look over your shoulder for me to come running because I ain't coming.
Right.
So I'm letting you know right now, this is what it is. In my mind, I'm laying down the gauntlet and I'm letting it be known for anybody who got an issue. Right now is the time to handle this.
Yeah.
Because when we walk away from this is the last meeting that I'm going to be at.
Yep. So
let's say or do or handle whatever needs to be handled here. I didn't say those words, but that is my attitude. That's where it was at. And they respected that. And so that was the beginning of me to start trying to lay the groundwork that had people think, okay, I'm not affiliated. I don't fuck around. I'm on my own.
Right.
Of course, it didn't work, you know, but that was the beginning for me.
Right. Okay, so that's where I met you at.
Yeah.
On that yard. And for the record, let me go ahead and say this on the record. I'm going to say it, no matter what he talked about, right? If I would have seen a motherfucker doing anything to Mr. Vegas on that yard, his plan would have been fucked up because we was coming. we was coming because when I got introduced to Mr. Vegas, it was like, oh, this the homie from Meadowview, but he don't fuck around. But that's the OG homie, the older homie. Not knowing he was closer in my age to me than I thought, but I was like, oh, okay. But garnered a whole new kind of respect for a motherfucker that could walk on his own and still be from my city and still be respected. So salute to you for that, first of all. But we was still coming. It was never no fuck. Because he know just like I know when half the motherfuckers that walk away and start deciding they don't want to fuck around or they want to be Christian or they want to do this or that, the mentality is, oh man, fuck that nigga. That nigga ain't from the city, man. That nigga is this, that. It was never that with him. It was always, oh, that's just vague, man. Vague just doing his shit. He come out, go to the bars, and everybody knew Vague program. If you wanted to get some knowledge, you go find Vague. If you wanted to get some knowledge about what you was finna do, don't go with no bullshit because you fuck around and get checked, no matter who you was. But if you got some knowledge you wanted to get, go find Mr. Vegas. So you started backing up away from that. That was just a little public service announcement, just so they know that's where we met at. And we've always, got along, obviously. But except for my little dumb rockhead ass nephew that we both had to keep fucking up all the time, or cousins that we both had to keep from screwing up all the time. But Dante. So you backing up, you putting your plan into motion to try to convince these people that you're not part of nothing. You're just doing your time, which is what you're basically doing. So this changed your program to the point where you've decided, obviously you're rocking solo on a level 4 yard in California. Easy money for you. What changed? Eventually something happened you're sitting here with me, so eventually something happened during that time to change you from your escape plan to something else.
Well, what changed along the way is I'd always been into reading while I was in the pen. I stopped reading fiction in 93 and started reading real stuff. And I started investigating different things and different esoteric brands from around the world. I started, getting off into Buddhism, different forms of meditation. I was doing a lot of historical reading, and that led me to, psychological aspects, which helped me begin to do a lot of self-introspection.
Right.
And so I started holding the mirror up and looking at me and trying to figure out my triggers.
Right.
And trying to figure out why I thought the way that I thought. And one of the big things, and like I used to tell cats, you say, cats used to come asking for advice on things or direction on things. Motherfuckers would come and be like, man, I got to do this. And I'd always question, well, why you got to do that?
Right.
Because that's how it go. What you mean that's how it go? Well, that's what they say. They say that's how it goes.
Right.
If this happened, you got to do this. Who the fuck is they?
Yeah.
Who is this fictional they that then created this encyclopedia of rules and regulations and guidelines that we functioning in up in prison,
right,
and continuing to flush our lives down the toilet? Because all of the investigation that I've done about this fictional they is cats who was in here with me.
Right.
And I know I done fumbled in life. That's how I wound up here. So if a motherfucker is sitting in here with me, he's a professional fumbler, just like I am.
Right.
So what the fuck am I doing listening to him about how I should be running my life, and he don't know how to run his own motherfucking life? Is this the they you talking about? So that's where my mentality started to go. So I started to try and figure out who I was.
Right.
And figure out what I thought and what I believed in and why I believed in. So I had to start kind of deconstructing my belief system. Because at this point, I'm so far gone that they is who I was.
Right.
So I had to go off in there and figure out who I really was at my core.
Right.
Who Eldra and Bertha Jackson birthed and started instilling morals and values and thoughts and dreams and hopes and goals into. And what I saw wasn't pretty. What I saw was all of that garbage and sewage that I took on. And as I started to strip away that and found that little boy, I came upon the nexus for me being able to take all of that on.
Right.
I'm sitting in prison and I'm 34 years old, and it clicks and memories start to come back up on where the seeds was planted for me to be able to victimize motherfuckers. I can take you back to when I was 6, 7 years old. That's where the shit clicked for me. That's where the psychic break for me went. I had a babysitter. We were living in Germany. We were living in Kitzingen, Germany. And I got a sister that's 4 years my junior. So if I'm 6, she's 2. When I'm 7, she's 3.
Right.
And we had this girl. She was in high school. She used to come visit, babysit when my parents would go to these different functions. Okay. And she put my sister to sleep, and then we'd be in the living room, laying on the couch watching TV, and she'd have me laying up on top of her, and you know, all of a sudden the boob comes popping out, and I'm laying on the boob, and now I'm sucking on high school titty.
Right.
I'm 6, 7 years old. This is cool.
Of course.
You know, she's laying there, she's pretending like she's asleep, and you know, all this jazz. This is what's going on. Now, what I'm not understanding and realizing is that what this is doing to me mentally, is I'm objectifying her. She's an object to me. Right. And by her laying there and pretending like she's asleep, she's not even human. This is damn near some old necrophiliac type stuff. You know, if you really want to look at the psychological aspects of it. Right. And there's no connection. There's no intimate connection. Now, mind you, again, I'm 6 and 7. I'm not even in a position to make that sort of connection. Right. But there's not even a faux intimate connection here. Right. So I went along in my life objectifying women and having that distance from women and not being able to be in intimate contact with women. And she had an older brother. He was in high school as well. I'm thinking maybe she was a sophomore and he was a senior. Every now and again, he'd come over and babysit. And I remember a time I was like 7 years old. He came over to babysit one night. She takes my little sister in the room. And me and him are out here now on the couch, watching TV. He want to get freaky. This ain't all that cool to me now. Right. It was cool when it was a girl. It's boy on girl thing. Now this is some boy on boy type shit. I'm 7 years old. You know, I don't know a whole bunch, but I know this ain't right. Right. And I'm like, yeah, no, I ain't really feeling this. Right. And he hit me with the, okay, well, if you ain't with it, I go in the room and see what's happening with your sister. So now I'm like, you know, I've been getting these messages about, you know, your little sister, you big brother, you got to take care of your sister. You know, it's your job to protect her. All of this shit is playing in my head. So I'm like, nah, leave my little sister alone. Right. So I go on and capitulate. Right. So, you know, what goes down goes down. Right. And there was a break. Right. You know, at 7 years old, you know, inside of me, there was a break. And going back and tracking it and tracing it, you know, what I determined at that time was, number one, right now I'm a victim. And this is the last time in my life I'm going to be a victim. If anything ever happens in life where there's a situation and there's a victim and there's a victimizer and there's prey and there's predator, I'm going to be that cat who's the predator. Right. I'm going to be that cat that's the victimizer. Right. That was what I told myself when I was 7 years old. Now, I didn't start really playing that out in a vicious criminal way until I got out in the streets, but the seeds were there. Right. That aspect, it was planted.
The process had already started.
So I started, you know, doing little stuff, you know, the breaking windows and the setting fires and all that little stuff that at the time it was like, oh, them is just boys being boys and all that sort of stuff. You know, spank his ass, give him detention, but nobody's asking the questions beyond, man, why you do that? And then I say, I don't know. And they'd be like, oh, he don't know. And, you know, spank his ass, put him on restriction, put him on punishment, have him write sentences, all that stuff. Nobody had the tools or the knowledge or the insight to start to try and figure out what was going on. I didn't start talking about what I just shared with you till I was 34 years old. I didn't even realize it was in there.
Oh, okay.
Until I started doing that stuff. I mean, they were just locked away and a piece of me went dead. Right. And that was the piece that I allowed to take over and start doing that bullshit in the gutter. Right. And continue to do it in the pen and follow behind that. This is how it go. You know, that's what they say, all of that bullshit. Wow. So I got to a point where I started to work on my emotional intelligence and start to learn what emotions were. Right. And what feelings were, because I was a person, man, that wasn't feeling. You know, we had this term, man, I don't give a fuck. You know, something come back, I don't give a fuck what you want to do. And say that real quick. I don't give a fuck about nothing.
Yeah. I know that saying.
And so I had to start trying to deconstruct that and figure out where that came. Well, what do I mean I don't give a fuck?
Why don't you?
There's people who give a fuck about me, so why don't I give a fuck?
Right.
And the truth is, I really did give a fuck. I give a fuck about you seeing that I give a fuck. Because I don't want you to see that I got feelings. Because if you see that I got feelings,
you might try to use
that's a vulnerability.
Then you're preying.
And I can't be vulnerable
because
now that puts me in a position to be preyed upon.
Yes.
So I gotta create a facade that lets you see nothing but hardcore iron.
Yeah.
Nothing can be penetrated. You can't get in here. I mean, I don't give a fuck about nobody. You kidnap my mama if you want to and rip all her nails up off her body.
Yeah, what it is.
It is what it is. It's part of the game.
Yeah.
You can't get to me by getting at somebody.
You gotta come right here. You gonna be.
So that's where I was at. I wasn't in touch with my emotions, my mentality. It was all screwed up. You know, my thinking was stinking.
Yeah.
You know, that's where I was at. You know, in normal society, what's up is down. In my thinking and what I adopted, you know, the opposite was true.
Right.
You know, so everything that a normal, you know, however normal looks, functioning human being and or member of society functions, I was the opposite of all of that.
Right.
So I had to rebuild, and I'm still working to rebuild who I am.
So, wow, that's deep. That's making me do some thinking. Hey, real talk. Hey, okay, so, yeah. See, I'm getting hot under the collar, right? Okay, so they talk about letting you go. So then does it become a talk, or do you go up to the board and they talk about letting you go?
It's for somebody doing a term to life sentence, life with the possibility to parole, you got to go to what's called the board of parole hearings.
Okay.
And I went before the board 3 times.
Right.
And on the 3rd time, they granted me parole.
After how many years?
After 24 years. I did a total of 24 years in the California prison system.
24 years.
So in my 24th year, 2014, June 18, 2014, I was returned to the community.
June 18, 2014?
2014, day before Juneteenth.
Oh, right after me?
Yeah.
Oh, right after me. Oh, okay. I thought you got it right before me, but I guess it was right after me. Okay.
Yeah, because when I got out, remember you came to the house and picked me up. You had a car. You was mulling on.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Matter of fact, right? Yeah. Yeah, I'm there. Off top. He out. I'm coming. Let's go. Yeah. Okay. So I got out 6/8/14. So that was June 8th. Yeah. So what? 2 weeks before.
Yep.
Okay. I had just got my license actually. Yeah. I got my license 30 days after. So they let you out.
Yeah.
June 18th.
June 18, 2014. I went to board in March.
Okay, so they let you out 2 months later.
And they let me out. I went to board. No, I went to board in February. And then there's a time period because everything's got to go. It's got to go to Sacramento. Yeah. The governor's got to look at it, have his emissary sign off on it, and all of that.
So first of all, when you went to board, did you think you had a good chance of getting out that time?
No.
Okay, so you were still on that board and let nobody go.
No, at that time they were letting people go.
Right.
But I had just got a 115.
Oh, okay.
6 months before I went to board.
For a phone?
No.
Oh.
Sexual contact with an adult visitor in the visiting room.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Me and my wife is in the visiting room for my birthday.
Right.
We sitting out here in front of the TV. They got cameras, all over the visiting room.
Right.
There's a D-boy sitting in front of us.
Right.
So they watching him.
Oh, they see you on a fluke.
So they see us on a fluke because they watching him.
Right.
She flash her boob. They don't quite see it, but they see some movement that's questionable.
Right.
They gun me down.
Of course.
Hit me with a 115. They send me to the hole. I mean, I'm 6 months through. Before this happened, the whole penitentiary was like, ain't no way you ain't going home.
Right.
This happened, it's like, shit, I'm gonna be stuck for another 5 calendars at least.
Till your next parole day.
Till my next parole
day. Yeah, because
I
know you wasn't even getting in trouble at all. You wasn't doing nothing. You just doing your shit.
No. So we go up in board. I'm not thinking I'm getting out. What my goal is to just go in there, be humble, be truthful and be honest and set the record for the next time I go around.
Right.
But I went up in there and everything kind of hinged on that 115.
Right.
Because real talk, it was some bullshit.
Right.
What they hit me for was some bullshit, and everybody knew it.
Right.
So they asked me, they was like, what happened? And I said, what happened was exactly what they said happened.
Right.
They said, well, how do you feel about it? I said, well, that was my bad.
Right.
They said, but you didn't do nothing. We didn't see the video. We saw everything that happened. You was watching the football game, and it looks like she called you. You just turned and looked. It wasn't like you tried to prompt her to do anything. You didn't reach. You didn't touch. You didn't do nothing.
Right.
I said, well, I did do something because I got a responsibility for my visitor. I know the rules, the regulations, the guidelines. It's on me. If I allow my visitor to get lax, that's on me, because the most y'all can do to her is kick her up out of here. I'm the one that got to suffer the consequences.
Right.
So I got lax. I didn't keep my circle tight. So yeah, it's on me. I screwed up. They was like, oh shit, he get it, man. Get him out of here.
He get it. If I was on the board, I'm letting you go too.
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah.
Okay, so you get your date. You know you're going home. Well, the first day comes. They tell you, Jackson, roll it up. Report to R&R or whatever. We'll be back in 10 minutes to get you. Whatever they did on the count. Because I know that's how you do it. They come through on the count. We'll be back in 10 minutes to get you, whatever. She picked you up at the gate.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you do?
The first thing we did was stopped at Burger King. We stopped at Burger King to get me a chicken sandwich and some fries, because I used to be a Burger King cat before I went to the PN.
Right.
And the shit just didn't taste the same.
At all.
It didn't taste the same at all. I don't know if they changed the recipe, my taste changed or whatever, but it was bland. I was like, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches I was eating there taste a little bit better than this.
Roll up a peanut butter patch.
And that was that. So then after that, we went to the house, because she bought a house when I got found suitable. So we didn't have to go through the whole thing about background checks and renting somewhere and all of that. So we got a house. We went to the house, we did our thing, all the stuff we had been talking about doing. Then we went to the south side to my parents' house.
Okay.
My whole family knew I got a date, but they didn't know when I was getting out. So we didn't tell my parents that I was getting out. My niece knew that I was getting out. She's in the filming and all of that. So they knew we were coming over. And the plan was to have my niece film my parents' reaction as we come in.
Right.
So we go in, my niece opens the door, we go in, I'm sitting in the living room, my parents is in the back in their room, Pops come to the room, to the front first. He walking, he talking to my niece and like, who was that at the door and all of that. He looked, and there I am standing there. So he go through what he go through, and my niece is doing all of this, and we all sitting up there now waiting on my niece. Call my mom. Mom's come out. She start crying. Oh my God, my baby, because she never came to visit me while I was in the PN.
Never?
Pops came a handful of times, but Mom's never came. They was with the packages and the phone calls and all of that. But she did 2 tours with me in YA. She did the Boys Ranch thing and all. It hurt her too much. When I got out of YA the last time, she was like, boy, if you go back to jail, I'm not coming. And she stuck to her word.
Right.
You can call, you can write, I'm not coming. So for that whole 24 years, we never saw each other face to face. So that was the first time we'd seen each other in 24 years.
Is that still on tape?
We still got the DVD.
Oh, yeah, I want to see that. Yeah, I want to see that on the personal side. Yeah, I got to see that reaction. Yeah. So you got to see Mom's. Okay, so now, first of all, I'm glad you made it out.
Thank you. I'm glad I made it out too.
Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that there's a lot of people, and I said this before, and I might get sometimes it's frowned upon by certain people, but I really don't give a fuck. It's some people that deserve to that need to stay in prison. And there's certain people that don't get it. Like they're only gonna come out and do the same exact thing they were doing when they left. And there's some people that are just sitting there rotting away that need to be out here enriching society. I believe you're one of those people. Which I think is, and I know a lot of people that got out of prison. And out of maybe 100 people I know that have gotten released, I probably associate with 5. So that tells you guys something. I don't, just because you did time don't mean I'm going to associate with you. I don't care. If you're not on a positive and productive path, I don't care. So that leads to my final question, which is the most important. What are some of, or not the main thing, because I know we don't really want to talk about the main thing, but what are some of the things that you do on a daily basis, or have you done already to promote positivity or change the mindset, or just that are productive since you've been home?
Okay, so some of the things that I do in the community now, besides learning how to be a good husband and father and maintain that solid base, the home life, because that's a job and a half.
Everyday lesson.
And be a good influence and example to these young boys that I'm raising in the household.
Right.
I'm a mentor. There was a group based out of Del Paso Heights called Shoulder to Shoulder, and it's faith-based. And what they do is they match fatherless young men in the community with an upstanding man in the community.
Right.
To work with them as a mentor, and you walk that walk with them from the time they are in elementary school through life. And being a part of that, you get action. I mean, you pops, you
Right.
get action at the school records in school,
Right.
all of that, doctors, all of that. So you can step in and go have a parent-teacher conference with
Right.
a teacher. You can take them to see the dentist and all that sort of stuff. So I'm a mentor to a young man in the community.
Right.
On a one-on-one thing, and the shoulder-to-shoulder thing fell apart, but I've continued the relationship because
Right.
that's what we developed.
Right.
I work with at-risk youth with a group called Jaeger. Shout out to Jaeger Youth Empowerment and Goals Association. At-risk youth, males and females.
Okay.
We sit and circle with them. You know, we try and do that at least once a month on a Saturday. As a part of that, we take them into Jamestown Prison
Okay.
to participate in that youth diversion program,
Okay.
so that they can sit with some cats who are going away,
Or doing time.
doing time.
Right.
And what we do is we take their bio and we match it. We send it into the joint so that them cats can look and find somebody who's a part of the program,
Right.
who their bio matches this youngster's
Oh,
bio.
okay. Right.
Step
oh,
for
try to
step.
line them up. Oh,
So they
cool.
spending the day in the joint
with somebody that's
with their self,
adult
with their
version.
older self.
Right.
So
That's
it
a
ain't
good
no
idea.
scared straight sort of thing.
Right.
It's a, like,
It's
you
a,
know,
I
get
like
to
you.
know you. Yes, I'm who you could be.
Yes.
So let's try and find some solutions so you can start making some decisions moving forward so you don't wind up here.
Right.
So, you know, I work with that. Just got cleared and we went into old folks in prison. We take the youngsters in there, same sort of thing. They match them up and they walk the walk
Right.
in an old ass dungeon.
So the
some
old
cats
part.
who- Old folks, not
Okay.
new, old
Right,
folks.
right, right.
Yeah. Just came back from New Jersey, sitting in Bordentown, and Bordentown is the equivalent of Chad Way out here.
Oh, okay.
So we go out there and we sit with those youngsters in Bordentown and try and help them. We actually had 3 cats that just paroled from that program
Right.
come back in with us to go sit in. So the cats that's still in there doing time, some of their cohort, they get the opportunity to see them come back in and what they're going through out there and see that the struggle is real out there and
Right.
what it's like to not pick up the sack.
Right.
And they got
And
these
how hard
ankle
it is.
monitors on and they trying to scrape up enough money to buy a jacket. And
Yeah.
it's all about your choices. You can choose to, you know, struggle right now and do what you got to do to get where you got to go and be where you want to be. Or you can go back to what you know. But just know that you can't go up in there and be like, I didn't have a choice and nobody told me, because that's a motherfucking lie.
Right.
You fully armed
Yeah.
with the ability
All
to
the
do
tools you
something
need.
different.
Right.
Ain't nobody tell you what to do or make you do what you're going to do. All we can do is provide you with the information and the support if this is what you want to do over here.
And you're doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah. That's time consuming for sure. And you have a full-time job.
And I have a full-time job. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I salute you, sir. Hey, I'm working on it myself, but yeah, I know how hard it is. So, before we end this out, is there anything? If you could say, okay, matter of fact, before I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna end this one a little bit different. If there's anything that you could say to the youngsters out there, what I'm sure you say it anyway, say to youngsters 18 and below, or any message that you believe in, just a statement or whatever would come through or sit still and soak in, what would it be?
It would be, this is the message that I would give to anybody, but you know, like you say, especially to youngsters.
Right.
Believe in yourself. Bet on yourself. Don't look to me. Don't look to him. Don't look to anybody else for validation or to tell you who you are or to believe in who you are or anything like that. Believe in you. Just like you sit up and you bet on the Niners, you bet on the Raiders, you bet on you. Believe in who you are and what you can be, because you are the most powerful being in this universe if you believe it. Spirit, creator, God, whatever you believe in has graced you and blessed you with all of the tools necessary to achieve your highest goals. If you believe in yourself, if you trust in that, and if you bet on you. That's the message that I would pass.
I don't even really want to say nothing else. Is there anybody you'd like to send a shout out to? Anybody you'd like to, send a special message to or anything like that?
Well, I'm gonna send a special message out, and hopefully, they ain't seeing this message because this is on YouTube, and you ain't got no business with the ability to see this where you at. I'm gonna send this message out to the cats that's still in the trenches, behind the walls, male, female, man, woman, whoever you are, wherever you at. Keep striving, push, pull, strive. Don't give up. Know that we out here fighting for you. We trying to get in position socially, economically, and politically to make a way so that you can do and be where we are. There's some cats right now that think they're gonna die in the pen, but fuck that. We trying to affect change in a real way and are getting in position to rub elbows with the people who can make a way for you to come home. So keep your head up, keep doing what you're doing, keep working on you. The fight is real. We ain't forgot you. See you when you get here.
We'll see you when you get here. Snake Dog 916 once again, live from Sacramento, man. Stay loyal.